Good morning and welcome to Boston Logan International Airport. My name is Andrew Troll and I work on our global communications team covering the East Coast. We're so glad to have you all here today. It's truly an exciting time. As you can see, people are finally gaining the confidence to return to the skies in greater numbers for the summer. And what American is doing is wanting to make sure that our customers are prepared for the air. And it all starts well before you arrive at the airport on AA.com, where you can book with confidence and then use our online travel to explore destinations, to see what specific travel requirements, quarantine restrictions might exist before you book. And when you're ready to book, we're providing customers more flexibility than ever before, changing a lot of our existing policies, waiving all change fees for premium and main cabin fares. We're allowing same-day standby for domestic itineraries and providing more flexibility and options for those who choose to book basic economy. So when you do finally book, one of the things that we encourage people to do well before they arrive at the airport is to get prepared. To prepare for day of travel, we encourage our customers to download the American Airlines mobile app, which provides a wealth of resources that we've enhanced over the course of the last year to improve the touchless journey that you see here today, but then also provide you more information and resources as you go about your travels. We have an online virtual assistant that you can ask questions before you arrive at the airport about any specific travel requirements, and then you can also see if there are any pre-flight COVID test requirements. If you're traveling internationally, we also encourage our customers to download the Verify Mobile Health Passport, which provides you a comprehensive overview of any destination-specific testing, quarantine requirements, and then lets you go ahead and search for and obtain a pre-flight COVID test. American has partnered with Let's Get Checked to provide at-home COVID test options for customers who are traveling on international itineraries. You can apply for that and get a turnaround in about 72 hours before your travel. You can enter that all into the Verify app. Allows you to expedite the check-in process. Also, as you're preparing to arrive at the airport, all customers should ensure that they are healthy for travel. We encourage all customers to verify that they are COVID symptom-free and have not been in contact with anyone who is exposed to or contracted COVID in the last 14 days. We'll ask you at check-in to verify that through a questionnaire that all travelers must complete at check-in. So if you do that, we encourage all our customers prior to arrival to use our American app to go ahead and check in and to prepay for bags. By doing so, you'll be able to use your mobile passport or mobile boarding pass to go up to one of our kiosks, scan that, go ahead and print your bag tag without having to touch the kiosk or check in with an agent. You can drop your bag off and then proceed straight through security without having to interact with an agent or use a kiosk. A couple of the things that you'll notice at check-in, though, we have changed the entire experience for our customers as they arrive, making it increasingly touchless, and as part of our clean commitment, have added a number of decals, hand sanitizer stations, pre and post security, antimicrobial coatings, and have thoroughly enhanced our cleaning process both in airport and on board to ensure the well-being of our customers.
Okay, so like Michelle said, I am Denise. Sorry about that noise. I'm about 2 years with Massport, and I've really been kind of leading the charge to, look at our social distancing measures and how we can make the customers feel comfortable coming back here to the airport. So the things that we have control of is really, your ground access coming into the airport, getting through the security checkpoints, and our concessions. So you can see all throughout the airport, we have many signs, advising our customers about our mask policy, washing hands, social distancing, along with overhead announcements that have been playing through the airport for the whole pandemic. Here in the terminals, we've done a lot of things like down here you'll see when you enter security, we have a PPE machine. Anybody that's forgotten their mask, want vitamin C packets, hand sanitizers, stuff like that. So they're in 2 terminals right now. We were testing to see what the impact and how the passengers are liking them. Speaking of hand sanitizers, during this time we added about 200 throughout the entire airport environment on top of the ones that we've already had throughout the years. Little things that we worried about were the checkpoints, right? So if you talk to everybody's concerned about the congestion and the checkpoints. So during the pandemic, with the less travel, we were able to maintain, dead lanes, what we call, where you can walk into a lane and not have to pass the person right next to you. Also, social distancing measures such as signage, adhering to 6 feet, had some markings on the floor. As we all know, as travel starts to come back, keeping that extra space is going to be very difficult. So I'll point out as we get down there, we are piloting, and I want to preference it as a pilot, with a company called Acesso Virtual Queuing. American was very nice to partner with us. It's a 2-month trial where you can scan a QR code and then have a virtual queue wait. So if it is a very busy day, instead of standing in a crowded queue where you're surrounded by people, especially for those passengers that might not be comfortable enough yet to be in a tight space with many people, you can sit down, enjoy your water, have a drink, wait, and then your QR code will pop up and tell you when it's time for you to enter the queue with no line and go up to the front. So we're doing some communication on it's not a skip the line. You still will have to wait a little bit, but it is a virtual queue than the actual physical queue. So right now this is the only terminal we are partnering and trialing that in, but we see it being very useful in the future as travel comes back. My view is to really go after things that not only through the pandemic are they useful, but they'll be very useful in the future. We all know before the pandemic happened, everybody hated waiting in line. So if we can get this to a place where you check in on your app 24 hours ahead of time, get your boarding pass, and then you book your time you want to go into the queue. Think of Disney Fast Pass. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We're really looking at technology on how we can improve the customer experience, but also adhere to social distancing measures. So something similar that we're doing is downstairs where we used to have agents interacting face-to-face. We didn't want to lose that personal touch, but we did put virtual agents there. So now it's a screen, live person sitting in my office, addressing you from the other side, answering all your questions live, but it's able to give a little bit of a social distancing measure. That also allows us to be mobile. So if we have 10 people in the airport and we can only put them in baggage claim, we can only help this small amount of people. Using the QR code that this company offers on our virtual assistant, we're able to put it all over the airport and have somebody just scan with their mobile device, pop right up, and you get a live person right on the other side. So those are many things that we're thinking about. Always looking for ideas. We want to be somebody that is looking at what the passenger wants and not just tell everybody this is great for them. So we're trying all sorts of innovation, trying to see how we can best manage the increase of flying coming back in the future. Some things on the other side of security, you'll see when you get over there, we put banners on the seats. We really thought that was better than the stickers because it helped the passengers that did feel a little uncomfortable not have to address it themselves. So if I'm sitting down and I don't want somebody sitting within my 6 feet radius and Andrew comes and sits next to me on a sticker, now that puts the pressure on me to say, hey, could you please back away? So the banners really kind of restrict the seat that you just cannot use them. So you'll see them all over the airport on the other side of the security. Then you have our concession stands. So you'll see all our concessions within Marketplace also used our 6-foot social distancing markers, our signage. They're also investing in technology. So we have At Your Gate and Grab that have partnered together, and they have made Boss to Go, which is a gate delivery service within the airport environment here at Logan. So you can be sitting at your gate, go on the app, order your food from all our concessions. A runner will go pick it up for you, deliver it right to your gate so that it's convenience. You don't have to leave the gate. There's a lot of stress, so they're going to start boarding when I leave. And you also can adhere to those social distancing measures and not have to stand in a line and be crowded around a food court. So that's been a great thing there. Every restaurant has added QR codes for their menus. Not for pay yet, but all the menus have a QR code. They are also adhering to all the city regulations on spacing, capacity, mask wearing, all of those things.
The only other thing I will just quickly plug, you're all quite aware, but there is a federal mask requirement throughout your journey, both in airport and on board U.S. Airlines. Just last week, the Biden administration extended that through September 13th. And so American, the Port Authority, and others really work to enforce that throughout key touch points across the journey. And we have additional masks available for our customers at ticketing, at the security checkpoint, at information counters, at gate areas, and on board in the event that your mask breaks or that you're wearing a mask that is not compliant with our policies. For those that choose not to wear a mask and refuse our instructions to do so, you will be denied boarding now through the duration of our mask requirements. And we do enforce that throughout, as I said, the boarding process and while on board.
I think the only thing I'll finish with, and then I'll turn you back over to the American team and get you on your way. For the AAA group, ground access is going to be something that we're very focused on here in the future. As you can imagine, our largest access point was our Uber and Lyft prior to the pandemic. People aren't as comfortable, traveling on mass transit right now. And along with the numbers being so low, there are some buses that aren't running at full capacity that they were prior. So it'll be a really good thing for you guys to communicate to all your members, to be prepared, make sure they have their travel plans from house to airport, tied up nicely.
And then just last thing I will say is when you're arriving at the airport, we still encourage our customers, if they're traveling domestically, to arrive at least 2 hours before their scheduled departure. I think there's a common narrative out there right now that air travel is down, and so most people arrive at the airport 45 minutes before departure, thinking that they can clear security and get to their flight with no problem. We do get busy at certain peak times, particularly because we've condensed our banks. We have more severe periods of arrivals and departures, and so it does take a little bit of time, especially with the additional testing requirements for international travel, and to get through to the check-in process, clear security, and then get to the gate. And so please make sure that your customers are leaving plenty of time to arrive at the airport, navigate through the airport, and then get to their flight.
To walk in and see a line is a little overwhelming at first. So being prepared that there are lines and being prepared early. I will tell you, because of our trial with the virtual queue, I've spent a lot of time in the lobby, and the teams are doing really great job processing the passengers. So it's not as intimidating as it looks when you walk in the door. But just knowing that there are passengers here and knowing you have plenty of time is probably the number one thing I would suggest right now.
And we'll talk about it in a little bit more detail later, but right now it is a leisure customer who is traveling. Business demand has largely not returned at this point, and so the customers that you have traveling right now are typically infrequent customers who are unfamiliar with the airport experience in a normal travel period. Then you add the COVID restrictions on top of that. And so we're having to work to educate our customers, many of whom are first-time travelers, about what it takes to get through the airport, through security, and then onto their flights. So we're going to demo a boarding process for you, just so you can hear some of the changes to the announcements. One of the big things that you will notice, it used to be that our agents would always take the gate passes from you. Now to lessen the interaction that you have with our agents, we encourage people to scan either their mobile boarding pass on their phone or their ticket for themselves. It's one less touch point that you have with our team. So we'll go ahead and demo what our boarding process is like. You can hear some of those announcements, and then we'll get on board.
Welcome to the boarding area for American Airlines Flight 177 servicing Philadelphia. Your carry-on allowance is one carry-on bag and one personal item. Please place your personal item under the seat in front of you and store your carry-on bag in the overhead bin. Always remember, any files rolled down your ladder, medication, keys, travel documents, as well as spare batteries or e-cigarettes from any bags checked here at the gate. And if you have a bag with the battery attached, you are required to remove the battery. Due to the federal mask mandate that is now in place, all customers must wear a mask over your nose and mouth throughout your entire journey with American, and masks with exhaust vents or valves, neck gaiters, and bandana-type coverings are no longer permitted while traveling with us. If you are unwilling to follow these requirements, you may face criminal and civil penalties under federal law and may not be allowed to fly with us in the future. If you need a mask for your journey today, please see me here at gate number B15.
The federal government did enhance the face covering requirements. So we, as an airline, require any mask to be at least 2-ply and opaque, so you cannot see through it. We don't allow any mesh neck gaiters or other forms of masks. And if you aren't compliant with our masks, we will give you another that you can wear over your existing mask or put on instead of it. Failure to comply with that or to remove your mask, wear an inappropriate mask again, will result in a denied boarding. So we'll go ahead and get on board the aircraft. And I believe you all got assigned seats, so we'll let you find your seat on board. We're getting our cleaners on board. They're actually going to be here in these exit rows in just a minute, and they're going to be demonstrating our enhanced turn clean. There are 3 things we're going to talk about today on board as it relates to our enhanced clean commitment on board our aircraft. The first of those is our enhanced full turn clean. So it's an entirely new cleaning program that we developed at the beginning of the pandemic that hits over 80 touch points throughout the aircraft and is performed before every single departure. It takes a crew of about 5 to 6, an average of 20 to 25 minutes to complete that clean. And they will touch everything overhead from the service buttons in the lights, the air vents to the overhead bin railings. They'll touch every armrest, seatbelt buckle, tray table. Every high touch point on the aircraft is going to get disinfected with a hospital grade disinfectant before our customers get on board. So as I mentioned, we're going to hit over 80 different touch points through the aircraft. Feel free to keep going. At every turn clean, so they're going to start overhead with all of the passenger service panels, open the tray tables, get the front and back latch of that. They're going to get the window shade and handled there. They're going to get these railings on the overhead bins. They're going to get the armrests, the seat belt buckles. They're going to check the seat back pockets and any other touch points that a customer might have while they're on board. A couple notes as well. All of our cleaners are using hospital-grade disinfectant to perform this work, along with disposable rags to prevent cross-contamination between areas of the aircraft and other planes. To give you an idea of how this has changed pre-pandemic to now, the clean that we are performing between every flight is what was typically done overnight for a remain overnight aircraft that sat at a gate overnight.
So how much additional time has that had to turn around?
And so American has really invested in our clean commitment, adding additional prospect staff to perform the work within the allotted ground time that we have. So it hasn't added any additional time to our block, so customers can expect to board as they would have pre-pandemic. Like I mentioned, average turn clean is going to have 5 to 6 employees for a narrow body, and then overnight that process typically will include 6 to 8 and to perform that work over about an hour and a half. One of the big things that we do make sure, though, is that all of our team members or flight crews are empowered to refuse an aircraft, ask the cleaners to come back to the gate at any point if they feel like the aircraft does not meet our standard of clean. This will typically use Surface-Wise 2 EPA-improved disinfectant. It has ionized charges that allow that spray to attach to all surfaces, even those hard-to-reach nooks and crannies on board, and allow about 15 minutes for that to dry before the cabin is put back together and customers are allowed on board. Creates a surface that actively breaks down viruses and other bacteria. We do it on board all of our fleet of aircraft at least every 7 days. So welcome to our Admirals Club. Across our network in time for summer, American's going to have 27 Admirals Clubs open in 21 airports across our system, providing guests that have access a great place to relax, recharge, grab some complimentary prepackaged food and beverages, have assistance from our great premium guest services team, and again, take a break and a little bit of a respite from the airport. It's a great place to come and relax if you are at all concerned about space, about social distancing in an increasingly crowded airport. Our team does a great job limiting capacity, making sure that there is ample space between our customers, and thoroughly disinfecting areas in between every guest. So with that, I'll turn it over to Michelle, provide a little bit more context as to what's going on here in the Boston Club and what our guests can expect when they come back to visit.
So once again, I'm Stacy Rochelle, here the manager of the club. I'd like to welcome you to our Admirals Club. We have 3 of our wonderful representatives here. As you can see, we have the plexiglass partition so that we do have a safe environment for our check-in process with our guests. So pretty much touchless, which is fantastic. When you come through the club, you'll notice, as Andrew mentioned, we do have spacing. As we are picking up with our capacity, we're still having plenty of space. There's plenty of space to move around in the club. It really is just a nice, tranquil environment to come in, to relax, a little reprieve from the hustle and bustle of outside in the terminal. And we do have a lovely club. If you'd like to walk through, we'll go through and show you around a little bit, and you can see a sense for yourself where we do have our spacing dots. We have cleaners here all day long. We do have a designated cleaner here in the club that is stationed here all day long. In addition, our host employees, after each guest leaves, they automatically go through, they sanitize the area where the guests are sitting, so it's a very safe, very clean environment for you, and hopefully you'll enjoy it as we walk through. I'll show you around a little bit. So if you'd like to follow me.
We do have complimentary snacks that are available for our customers throughout the day. We do also have food for purchase available now. So if you would like to grab a bite to eat before your flight, you can do so. We continue to add menu offerings, including some new healthy options and kids options, just in case you don't want to grab chicken fingers on the way in. Time for summer, we are also opening all of the kids areas in our Admirals Clubs across the system. So there is a quiet place for your kids to play and enjoy themselves before boarding a flight.
Absolutely. And as we walk through over there, we have our guacamole station in the afternoon. We offer complimentary avocado toast and scrambled eggs in the morning as well. So that's one of our areas. As you can see, that's also socially distanced. And the rest of our buffet is around the corner. As you're walking through, you'll notice to maintain the spacing dots so that there is plenty of room for everybody. Everyone does wear their mask in the club unless they're eating or drinking. We do make hourly PAs as well in the club, just reminding folks to make sure that they're, for the safety of everybody around them, that they are wearing their masks at all times. So come on through. You notice on some of the tables we have the QR codes as well. We do offer food for sale, and you can use, it's touchless. If you wanted to use your phone to use the QR code to order food, you can do that. And then this is our food area over here, our complimentary food items that we have throughout the day. We just had a menu change as well, so there's always a nice variety of food items for you. And that's the Coca-Cola machine that you can use with your phone to get your own beverages.
We continue to add more offerings to our Admirals Clubs as the airline reopens, as travel restrictions lift, and then as local ordinances allow us to do so. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We certainly appreciate you coming out to see the airport experience, learn a little bit more about what American is doing to keep our customers safe, welcome them back as they gain the confidence to travel. If you have any other questions, I know you have Yin's contact information. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. Happy to provide you with some additional information as we continue to tweak, change, and adjust our schedule, enhance some of the services that we provide, bring back additional services that customers are used to as the pandemic restrictions subside. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I hope you have a fabulous day.